Welcome to the Manuchehri podcast. Over the last 30 years, it has been my joy to assist humanity in aligning with their magnificence so they may heal, discover their natural gifts, and communicate with loved ones living on the other side. May you also experience delight while we dance in the powerful, intuitive world of energy. Let's get going. Welcome to where energy meets the divine. I'm so happy you're here. Before we go to the phone lines and I begin to give answers, and I'm going to do my best to kind of make the answer just a little bit more global. In other words, I will answer for that individual, but then maybe go deeper in the process of it. We'll see how this goes. But today, before we go to those phone lines, I would really love for everyone, and I know you've all heard me say this a million times, fall in love with yourself, raise your vibration, but there are practical reasons for doing so. One of them is, and this is from an astrological perspective, we have finally Pluto moving out of Capricorn. It's just stationed direct in Capricorn right now, actually. But next month, it's going to move out of Capricorn and move into Aquarius. Aquarius is a much faster energy. So Capricorn is slower. It's about the earth. It's about foundations. And, we had a really interesting, I would say, 14-year period with Pluto because it moved into Capricorn in 2008. And we've had a lot of changes around the world, things politically, all kinds of interesting, weird things that really we thought we had fixed or healed or we had moved on from, but that wasn't the case. And we still need some fixing and healing regarding it. But Pluto's, especially when it's in Capricorn, it's slow. And so now Pluto's moving into Aquarius, and Aquarius is fast. It's electrical. Its ruling planet is Uranus, which is I love Uranian energy. I have a lot of it in my chart. I think it's a very cool planet. So if you start raising your vibration, as we have talked about endlessly in this podcast and all the classes I teach and all the readings I do, we talk about vibration and frequency because that's really the backbone of everything. And maybe while Pluto was a Capricorn, we were working on our frequency. We were adjusting our vibration. We were clarifying our frequency in certain minds and certain arenas. Perhaps that's what we were doing, right? So now that it's going to be moving into Aquarius for 20 years, approximately 20 years, if you can raise your vibration, you're going to start to match this Plutonian-Aquarius type of energy. You're going to be matching it more because things are going to pick up. Things are going to move much faster. And if your energy is at a high frequency, you're going to be able to move through things very quickly. So if there's been something you've been trying to create in your life, especially since 2008, and it wasn't happening as fast as you would like, or you have these false starts and these stops and, annoyances, regardless of what the topic is, well, that is going to rapidly change. Things are going to move much faster. So if you raise your frequency, you're going to be in a better alignment with Aquarian, Uranian, Plutonian energy. And you're going to be able to catch the signs a lot faster. You're going to read the situation a lot quicker, and you're going to move into a more solid footing because the foundation has already been set. As painful as it has been, the foundation has been set. And now you can fly into new areas of your life. Now, part of this flying into new areas of your life, and I'm not kidding when I say this, things are going to move quickly. We might see wars ending sooner next year, or the beginning of a change of seeing wars ending sooner next year. So when people talk to you about, we're moving into World War III, I wouldn't get too caught up in that vibration because number one, many heavenly bodies outside of Earth do a lot of work that they can to make sure that humans do not create nuclear war, because nuclear energy is so powerful, it can actually create a lot of negativity, universally speaking, right? It's not really probably something we should be dabbling into as we don't know how to store it and contain it. So outside high vibrational influences have been doing everything they can to make sure that humans make better choices regarding nuclear power and war. So I just want you to take that off your list. Like, that's probably not going to happen. I'm not saying that war is going to instantly disappear, but typically when the United States gets into a war, which then other countries get involved as well with NATO and everything like that, they last about 10 years. They last about a decade. And then the ramifications last much longer, even after that. Like, do we have resolutions to any of these, horrific, unnecessary experiences? At least that's how I look at them. Obviously, it's happening for a reason, and they do affect the people that it needs to be affected. But, I think they're unnecessary. So we're going to start to notice resolution happening very quickly. So part of that is going to be happening because more progressive people are going to move into leadership. Because you could have a progressive person in one country, but then 20 other countries do not have progressive people. Or if we're talking about, 5 leading nations and only one of those nations has a progressive person, you're kind of in a stalemate. And this is what Capricorn energy was like with Pluto in it. It's almost like a car that has one good tire. But in order for the car to really move efficiently, it needs 4 good tires, or at least 3. I mean, even 2 is going to be way too wobbly and create damage on the healthy tire or tires. So what we're going to be noticing very quickly, it's already starting to happen, is that we're going to see people in leadership that become progressives. So if you're looking at countries that are being led by old school thinking that even the majority of the population is not in agreement with, and I'm not just talking about the US, by the way, I'm talking about a lot of countries, that person that's been leading the nation and the people who've been supporting very old, outdated thought processes that are not about compassion or unity, which is Aquarian energy, right? Aquarian energy is very much universal love. It's very much humanitarian energy. So we're going to notice world leaders moving off the guard. They're going to they will start to move off. Now, the interesting part, because we've had that happen before, the interesting part is the collective energy around the world leaders is also going to change. So for those people who understand US policies and politics, and I say that because we have people all over the world that watch this channel, thank you so much, is that if you have a Congress and a Senate that are not aligned with a progressive leader, you're in stalemate. You're still back to 1 good tire on the car and 3 bad ones. You can't make a lot of effort because things have to move through a process where there has to be agreements in the houses, in Congress, in order for a president to be able to sign a bill. So that's what's created a lot of stalemates in countries moving forward and even ending wars or moving to more humanitarian, decisive results that positively affect nations and ultimately the world. So we're going to notice positive changes and things moving quickly. So that's going to be fun for our psyche to go, oh, well, that disappeared. But for you personally, getting things done, moving forward, if your energy is elevated, if you start to pay attention to positive things, which really means get in the present moment. As I'm talking to you, there's this, I think one of my grandchildren gave me this. There's this really pretty rose quartz. I'm not truly a candle person, but it's a little, it smells really good. Candle here that I didn't recognize. I mean, I don't remember putting it there, but I've been staring at it from time to time as I'm speaking, because it allows me to go back to the present moment. Because this is in my present moment. This pink thing that's sitting under my computer is in my present moment, and it's caught my attention. So it helps me move into the nothingness, which is where high vibration and high frequency is, and out of this world solutions and ideas. If you've been working on creating a career and you've had these, the car situation that I used as an example, if that's been, hindering you from really moving forward in your career or any other part of your life, you're going to get healthier tires. And so in order for you to move forward, if you raise your vibration, you're going to get the tires faster. You're going to know where the tires are. You're going to switch them out very quickly. They're going to be a good brand. So they're going to last a really long time. And you're going to choose roads that don't have a lot of nails or glass exposed onto them, so you don't re-injure the tires. That's what's going to happen if you start to move into the nothingness, which is the present moment. Not the past, not the future, but the present moment. And if you have a victim consciousness about anything in your life, your career, your love life, your health, friends, adventures, you pick it. If you have a victim consciousness to any area of your life, this is the time to get present and stop rambling, stop buying those tires that just blow out all the time. Get out of victim consciousness, because you are ready and the universe is available for you to move in a positive direction. So if we go back to it, the career kind of idea, sometimes people will study something and it's really the formula of another person, whether they study from an astrologer or university. It's the theme and the teachings of another person, right? Or an organization. And that's perfectly fine. There's nothing wrong with that. And if you love it and you're excited about it, that's great. But if it hasn't been working out for you, it's because the universe is trying to get you to make it your own. The universe wants you to individuate. It wants you to make something your own. Maybe the person that you learned from gave you a scoop of knowledge that you're very excited about, that got your energy really high, but now you still need to individuate it. You need to make it your own. So a part of this Aquarian energy is to get out of the way and to be very free, not be uniformed in your thinking, not follow along in what everyone else says. Like I know I've said this many times, but Freud and his teachings should not be in any university that has anything to do with, for sure, psychology, maybe history. If I'm not a fan of history, I think it's such a waste of time for humans to constantly look at historical things. I think we need to be looking at the future and the present. So make it your own. And then to do that, you just have to ask the universe for help. And things are moving very fast, or will be very, very shortly, because of Pluto making this incredible transition into Aquarian energy. So that's my tip and my entrance talk for today's recording. I'm going to go ahead and go to the phone lines now. And perhaps we'll be even continuing this conversation, which would be really great, in our readings as well.
Hi, Marie. My name is Lil from Canada. My question is, do you see any blockages in my auric field? And can you read my energy system for my emotional response system and for any leaks? Thank you.
Okay, so Energy 101 from my perspective. I don't think people should be so stuck on energy leaks and blockages. I think those are very old school terms when it comes to reading energy and when it comes to understanding energy. Now, if I were working with someone who had serious chronic health issues or significant disease process going in their body, that's a different conversation, because I'm going to need to go in there potentially very quick and do some resolution to their energy. But for the rest of us, it's more about taking in vital life force flow of light. That's what stops leaks. That's what moves the energy in your body. So that word that people use all the time, which I don't think has a lot of powerful or useful information, blockages. Blockages are, it's a mind-made perception. What we're really working on is changing perception, changing the way you see things, the way you hear things, the way you feel things. And so overall, Luna, you may feel like you're blocked, you may feel like you have massive leaks, but in reality, you're not taking in energy. You move your energy, and the universe corrects me every time I say this phrase. You're moving your energy like a slug. And the universe goes, but slugs are so cute, which I agree. I always move slugs. I don't care if they eat things in my yard. I let all of nature eat whatever they want. I don't care. And I don't put chemicals that would be harmful typically to any creature in my yard. So the universe always says, but slugs are cute. They are cute. They're adorable. But what's happening when you don't pull a lot of energy in your body, which literally raising your frequency and getting happier allows you to flush your body with gorgeous subatomic particles. And that's what makes things move forward. So instead of being focused on these old school terms that I actually don't think depict energy and vibration and frequency with any significant accuracy, think of how much light am I perfusing in my body right now? How could I shift my perception so that I could absorb more subatomic particles? Because everything needs particle mass in order to work. And so when people keep their energy low and don't utilize the present moment or happiness or fulfillment, it may feel like you're blocked. It may feel like you have leaks, but truly you're just not having you don't have a lot of energy. It's like when people don't eat enough food, or people who have low blood sugar and they, don't take enough protein in, so they aren't getting a lot of movement in their cells, and the insulin is not helping them in the way that it's meant to be. We just need more energy, just like people need insulin to move things, and they need protein to create a balance on their blood sugar. So that's what I would want you to focus on. Get those terms away from you, because you lower your energy when you think of blocks and leaks, and it's a fearful thing for you. I don't think we should ever approach our body or any situation in our life from a place of fear. And that means we need to be mindful, which means we need to be present of where our mind is, what we're experiencing. Is it real? Is it authentic? Is this mind made? What am I doing right now? I think that is the area that you need to be focused on, so that you can begin to move into alignment of your authentic frequency and vibration, which is actually high. When you're in normal flow, your vibration is very high, but you're getting stuck on things that don't exist. That's what I think. Anyway, I hope that's helpful for you. Thank you.
Hello, Marie. This is Mary Maxine. I'm in Oregon, and I just started listening to your podcast today, and an interview on YouTube started me off. Very helpful what I've been hearing. I've been ill for a long time, and the pain, body pain and aches and slowness has been getting worse. It's very hard to walk.
So
I
sorry.
use a walker with wheels to get around, and my toes are numb. Joints hurt, joint pain,
Yeah.
from chronic fatigue syndrome or maybe something else. But I work with a naturopath, and I've been changing my diet, no sugar,
Yes.
and so I still have indigestion and fatigue. My mother died a couple of years ago, and she and my sister, I didn't get along with them for a number of years. I needed to protect myself. I have low income. I lived in subsidized housing, and I count up my costs for naturopathic over-the-counter supplies to keep my body going.
Yeah.
I had some surgical damages and have to do treatments every day. So I'm grateful. I had a cat with me until January
Aw.
when she died, and a heart condition and old age, and I really miss her. I've been trying
Aw.
to arrange for a new couple of cats. It's better to have two at a time, and that there's been delays with that. But neighbor cats have been keeping me company, so that helps. Anyway, I would love it if you could give me some direction about chakra healing. I could do 1 and 2 Reiki on myself,
Nice.
and I ordered your book. So any information you can give me about my mother would be helpful, or my father, anybody else that might want to talk to me, my Uncle Bill, my Aunt Anne. Thank you for being here and for doing what you do.
Thank you, Maxine. And I'm sorry about your health challenges. You are a perfect representative of the vibration of victim consciousness. Because people who are really strongly emerged into this energy, it's just an energy, it's a belief system, it's based on perceptions, and it's going to be like everything that we're trying to resolve in this lifetime, it's going to be past life related. I'm probably not going to talk about your parents, because that's like a lot of people. I want to stay focused on your health and this whole notion of victim consciousness. It's so easy for you to go into victimization. It was probably modeled for you, even in childhood. So things that we want to heal from previous lifetimes are usually reintroduced to us in childhood, because we forget about what we want to work on after we reincarnate, right? We cross the veil and we forget. It's like wiped from our memory. So you're going to have to change the way you talk about things and the way you think about things, regardless of your current reality. I would start listening to Esther Hicks immediately. I love that your naturopath got you off of sugar. That was an excellent idea. So chronic fatigue syndrome and most of the early diagnosable autoimmune disorders, like chronic fatigue is, fibromyalgia, all of those things were like some of the early first autoimmune diseases that modern medicine went, oh, this is not a psychiatric issue. This is actually an autoimmune issue. It took them a while to figure that out. So they are deeply entrenched in victim consciousness. In other words, people who don't get those diseases, it's because they're not entrenched in victim consciousness. So in order to get those diseases or severe side effects of Lyme's disease, you have to be drenched, whether a person is conscious of it or not, in victimization. So you're going to need to speak about your finances differently. You're going to have to speak about your body differently. You've already spoken about these things negatively, which are, we could say, from a human perspective, a correct identification of them. But you can't do that any longer. And you've already done it enough. It's kind of like, I'm sure you and me and a bunch of other people, we've eaten enough sugar for a lifetime. Like, we don't need to eat any more sugar. We've already had enough. It's not necessary. It's not healthy. Even bugs don't sit in bags of sugar. They go to the flour instead. So you can no longer speak out loud about your situations in negative ways. You're going to have to find positive ways. Your doctors already know your situation. I'm sure everyone around you knows everything about your situation. So that means that you're going to have to say something positive. I want you to start to make a list of the positive aspects of your living situation, of your body. I know you spoke great of the cats, but the cat died, but the cat lived a long time. That's how I would describe it. I was blessed to have my cat for such a long time. And she just recently crossed over, and now I'm going to be joyfully accepting 2 more cats in my life. Notice the difference. And granted, your energy was higher when you talked about the cats. Now you've got to take that same vibration and move it into your body. Like, every single day, there is something remarkable happening in my body, which is actually true. The fact that our heart beats, hopefully 80 sometimes per minute, is remarkable. So even though your mind might go, but that's not true. I don't feel good. My toes are numb. I have to use the walker, or whatever the situation is. Those things are true, and they have been true. But as long as you continue to talk about them in the way that you have, it's going to be difficult and extremely slow for you to heal. And remember what I said at the beginning of this podcast, things are going to rapidly start to speed up. So because that's going to happen, you want to be part of the game. You want to be in that energy and let things move forward. So if you feel like you're lying a little bit as you're speaking a truth, but in a different way than you have before, that's fine. I'm okay with that. The throat chakra is the most powerful throat chakra in the physical body. And what comes out of your throat comes back to all of us like a boomerang. And it hits us and shifts our vibration and affects us, and then allows us to be in, whether it's long-term or temporary, depending on what comes out of our throat next, it stabilizes our vibration. So in other words, it makes you vibrate in that frequency of what you say. So what we need to be very mindful of what we say, especially if we're trapped in victimization. We're not going to be able to get out of it until we start speaking differently about it, especially when you're doing good things like seeing a naturopath and not eating sugar. So I hope that's helpful. I can't wait to hear about the positive aspects of whatever is going to be happening for you in the future. Okay, thank you.
Hi Marie, I am Esther from the Netherlands. I'm 64 years old. 3 years ago I woke up one day, everything was running. I had to vomit a lot and that hurts my stomach. After taking an antacid for 3 months I stopped. Then the nerve pain started in my stomach. I had several tests and it turned out that there was an inflammation in the stomach, the esophagus.
Right.
They couldn't find anything what causes the nerve pain.
I don't think it's nerve pain.
Then I look for the alternative path with inner peace, meditation, healthy eating, fitness, and visiting mediums. I listen to my body as much as possible, but the pain remains variable. Sometimes no pain, sometimes severe pain. I would really like to know what your advice is, Marie. Thank you very much. Love, Esther.
Thank you, Esther. I hope the Netherlands are lovely. They look lovely. I haven't been there, but they look lovely. So you're doing the right things. You're seeing, a holistic physician of some sort. You've changed your diet. I would go off all gluten. There are certain foods that when the intestinal tract has been irritated, I don't think this is nerve pain at all. I think this is your intestinal tract and the mucosal lining of your intestines has somehow been eradicated. It could even be hormone related because, against what most people believe, once a woman moves through menopause, she's kind of done. Well, no, her hormones still continue to change in a downward spiral, and hormones protect our immune system. They just do. I developed a shellfish allergy when my hormones changed. So, so that's fascinating. So maybe have your hormones change. Consider doing, if you want to do some hormones, if you're a good candidate for it, bioidentical compounded only. But make sure you're taking lots of probiotics and avoid dairy and gluten. But because you've done things already, probably the thing that's going to give you the most bang for your buck is falling in love with yourself, because the third chakra governs the stomach and the intestinal tract, and emotionally it's all about self-love. So I can tell you have not ventured into the self-love arena. I know you love everything and everyone else, and you have great graciousness for all creatures and all beings, but could you turn that energy back to yourself? Could you fall in love with you? Could you start to value and appreciate you? That's really why your tummy started to be problematic, is because in order for you to continue your evolutionary process, you do need to fall in love with yourself. There's important kind of grassroots aspects humans don't think are grassroots, but from the spiritual realm are definitely grassroots. And that is self-love and self-worth. Self-appreciation is critical. One of the things I appreciate about myself, and I wish more humans would sit down and really think from an emotional perspective about what they do appreciate from themselves. I appreciate that if I want to travel and if I don't have anyone to travel with, I go anyway. I will go by myself. I just have one rule. I have to be in my hotel when it gets dark. That's my only rule. But I want you to find things to value, all of you, everyone who's listening to this podcast. If you could spend this weekend that's coming up, spending time finding things that are very heartfelt and the way that you appreciate about yourself. Not that you're really good at, organizing the garage, unless it's heartfelt. If it's heartfelt, that's great, but not something that humans go, oh yeah, that's a good thing to appreciate. I want you to make sure that it's really, really, really heartfelt. I think you're going to get better, and you're going to be surprised that loving yourself is a positive trick. Make sure you're doing great probiotics, because that's what builds the normal flora in the intestinal tract, so that we have healthy microorganisms living in that gut area. Okay, thank you so much, Esther.
Hi, Marie. This is Cori from Seattle, Washington. I was just wondering if you could do a energy scan and see if I have any energy leaks. Thank you so much. Bye.
Okay, quick question. I've already kind of talked about this, but I did draw out your energy rather quickly, and you do have a massive leak in your root chakra. There are 3 chakras that I don't want to see leaking in combination for sure. Does it make me happy? I love to see it. I love to see energy. That's one of the reasons why I do what I do. I love to see, hear, feel, understand, connect with, communicate with energy. It just rocks my world. So the root chakra, and sometimes we have temporary leaks if we're moving, or we just bought a house, but we haven't moved yet. Things that would keep us rooted, if they're changing, that could potentially affect the flow of energy to that vortex. The 4th chakra, I don't want to see a leak in the 4th chakra. When I scanned your energy, I didn't even draw out any other chakra. I just drew out your root. So that's what the universe wants me to focus on. And when I draw out energy, it's an automatic thing where my hand is aligned to the divine or my higher self, and I just allow myself to draw out what's necessary. So, yeah. And you sound very young to me, Cori. So if you can start to take energy in through the root chakra, you're going to start to feed the first layer of your auric field, which is a hologram of all of your anatomy and physiology and complete and total health. And it's critical to feed the hologram, because the hologram reminds the true physical anatomy what health looks like. So it helps your liver balance its digestive enzymes. It helps your Langerhorn cells in your prostate gland, not prostate, excuse me, in your pancreas to feed insulin into the body appropriately. So the body needs reminders, especially when humans think about a million other things rather than anything to do with the present moment. We need this hologram to constantly, consistently feed energy into the physical form so that things start to run in perfection. Now, interesting about this hologram, let's say someone does have type 1 diabetes, and that means that those islets of Langerhorn and the pancreas are not producing cells or enough insulin cells to deliver sugar into the cells, which the sugar needs glucose. Or the cells need glucose. So let's say that someone who has type 1 diabetes has really great balanced sugar. Everything works for them. Their diet is great. Their exercise is great. Their doctors are always, cheerleading them because they're doing such a great job managing this, what can be a complicated dis-ease in the body. And the reason why that would be happening is because they're grounded and they're pulling up tons of earth energy into that first chakra. And then the first chakra, when it's fed, will then send energy to the first layer of the auric field, the hologram. And in the hologram, there is a pancreas that has healthy insulin cells and is creating this biochemical, beautiful physiology within the hologram with ease. And then it's mirroring that to the true anatomy and physiology. And then that body is working better and faster and healthier, which then keeps the rest of their organs healthy too for, a normal lifespan. So being grounded matters. And what helps people to be grounded? Being present to your present moment. Like, I know there are scary and terrible things happening in the world. I know they are. But do you live there? Do you have family members that live there? If the answer is no, that is not your present moment. And if you stay in the present moment, then you can positively send energy when you feel enticed to from high frequency to anywhere in the world or any situation, because you're in alignment, you're in balance, you're grounded, your house is fed. We have to feed ourselves and take care of ourselves and our personal reality before we actually have healthy energy to help anyone else or hold positive light for any situation. Because if we don't have the lights on in our own house, we're going to drain our own life force. And the universe doesn't want that. The universe does not want us to be draining our own energy ever, 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 ever. Okay. Thank you so much for your question, Cori.
Hello, Marie. I'm really enjoying your podcast. My name is Ariana and I live in Canada. I have been practicing as a nutritionist for over 20 years and I love getting to the root cause and helping people achieve better health.
Yay!
I would love to be able to go deeper and become a medical intuitive.
Great.
I am in a relationship with someone who hasn't done enough inner work on himself, and I often pick up on his energy and it causes anxiety and ultimately exhaustion for me. I am not planning on leaving the relationship, but I want to be able to become more intuitive with my clients and their health conditions and become less affected by his energy. Do you have any advice for me? And am I able to become a medical intuitive? Thank you for everything you do.
Thank you, Ara. I think you already are a medical intuitive. If you're able to help your people with serious health issues, you are intuiting that information. You're intuiting it. I will say, psychics, intuitives, we need a peaceful home life. It doesn't mean that, again, I'm not advocating for ending the relationship, but I am advocating for the fact that everyone needs a peaceful home life. But when you're working with unique subatomic particles, and most intuitives have kind of sensitive energy, they're highly empathetic, then you do need to have a home base that's restful. And granted, you are in charge of your own energy. So probably the best way that you could deal with this situation is you have to stop caring so much, stop reading his energy, stay in your own body. In fact, to read successfully other people, you have to be in your own body. This is the tool and the instrument for reading, is your own physical form, your own awareness, your own consciousness, your own nothingness. So I would try that and see how it goes. See how, if you're able to enjoy the healthy aspects of the relationship and not get caught up in your people-pleasing pattern, which I think you do have, where he has to be okay or he has to be fixed or something of that nature. Like, imagine that you're a mechanic, because this is what my guides taught me very early on in my practice, because I worried about everyone. I would walk in the grocery store and do my best to take my cart to where aisle 4 was. I remember this one particular day where I knew someone needed a colonoscopy. I knew it. And I also knew they weren't open to energy medicine, so they need to get to a doctor and have their colon checked, right? So I went to aisle 4, but granted, I'm in the store to buy food for my own body, and our whole family, at least my children, and I don't think grandbabies, who knows, but we tend to run our energy very fast, so we can drop our blood sugar pretty low quickly. So we need to eat healthy food, and lots of it sometimes. So I'm in the grocery store, granted, there to buy my own food, but I cannot stop thinking that there's someone in aisle 4 that needs to go get a colonoscopy. I know it. I intuitively know it. I'm accurate. It's true. So I, take my cart over there. I crash, accidentally bump, not really accidentally, into someone else's cart so I can have a conversation about their colon, which they did not appreciate. They did not appreciate me trying to help them. And by the time I left the store, I was completely exhausted. I didn't buy the food that was good for me. I bought some food that was okay for me. And I'm sitting on the curb. I'm this tired that even the cart, after I'm holding the 2 bags of food that I have, the cart just kind of goes off to a curb. I was too tired to even move it to where the carts were. So I've got 2 bags of food. I'm sitting on the curb because I'm too tired to even walk to my car. I'm completely exhausted. Now, where in the heck does that help anyone? It doesn't help anyone. And my guides had a conversation with me. They said, you need to stay in your own body. You know how to do this at work. You need to do it when you're out in the world. And unless someone asks you for help, do not offer it to them. You're listed in the yellow pages. If somebody really wants to know about their colon and that they need a colonoscopy from you, they will ask you. Stay in your own lane. And that is my advice to you. That is my advice to you. This is something you need to figure out. This will make you a better medical intuitive and let you use your energy in the profound ways where people who can accept it, want it, desire it, and will cherish it can utilize that wisdom. Instead of people who aren't interested or need to have a different experience than what you think they need to have. You need to get out of how you think your partner needs to be and learn to accept your partner the way they are and see if you can have a healthy and bountiful relationship in that resonance or not. I know this is a little bit of a short of a podcast today, but I hope that it was eventful and fun and informative for all of you as I go off and do other things. Have a beautiful day. Joyful blessings. Bye-bye.